And welcome to the Performer's Guide. Take your show on the road. My name is Kristen Railing, and I'm so excited to have you here today, here at the Portland Juggling Festival. We're on day one, and this is just one workshop of many incredible workshops throughout the entire weekend. So please be sure to check out all of the workshops. If you are interested in joining others, please go to the Portland Juggling Festival event page to see what other workshops are happening after this one. So I am just so excited to be here today with you to present this information. I would say that the number one question I get asked, how do I take my show on the road? How do I become a touring professional, a professional performer who tours around the world? And I get asked this question almost weekly, I'd say, where people just message me, how did you do it? How have you traveled to so many countries? How have you managed so many performers? How do I get started into getting booked outside of my city or even more within the city that I am living in? And so I've actually decided to present an entire presentation about just this topic on how to take your show from street to stage to touring the world on the client's dime. So, are you ready? I'm so excited to present this information for you. Okay, are you ready to take your show on the road? But sometimes it feels like you're in the dark on where to begin, right? I think that oftentimes there's no step-by-step manual out there or step-by-step on how to take your show on the road. I think that a lot of times people see other people on tour and it feels like this next level, unattainable pinnacle for some people. It's like, oh, they're doing it. How can I take that next step? Okay. Well, you're in luck. The Performer's Guide is here to help. I am here to help you demystify the steps it takes to go on a tour. So before we do that, I'm going to give you a little bit of background about who I am as a person and why you should be listening to me. So my name is Kristen Railing, and I am the founder of the Performer's Guide. This is a program that I created about 3 years ago, actually, but fully formulated and branded about a year ago. And it's a mentorship program for performers who are just like you, ready to take your career to the next level. But before I founded the Performer's Guide, I was just a regular person. I was a regular performer, just like you. I did street shows. That's where I got my start. This is me at Balboa Park doing street performing. I got a busking permit in, I don't know, 2007 and began busking. And this is really how I began my performance career. No fees to get in, no management agency to work for. You just go in and you file the paperwork and boom, you're a professional performer. And so I did this for about 10 years off and on. I performed at Seaport Village Buskers Festival and traveled all around California doing busking festivals. And then I also did a lot of parades. I performed at nightclubs, including the House of Blues, was one of my biggest clients in San Diego. I've done modeling for MAC Makeup and other modeling agencies. I've been on late night talk shows, news segments, and I was even followed around by MTV for a week while they filmed me and one of my clients, Scarlet Checkers, for one of TV shows. true life. Oops. Oh, I did one photo twice. I've also toured around doing festivals. And I think that's where a lot of people have found me, was through managing flow festivals, music festivals, transformational festivals. And then I've also been the shin of a few different conclaves. And then I think the number one question I get asked is, how did I get hired on a cruise ship? I did 2 contracts on Norwegian Cruise Line and traveled around to over 25 countries alone just in this contract series. So I'm going to break it down. How did I do all those things? I'm not special. I mean, I am, but so are you. And I don't do anything that's like that unique, you know? I'm a hula hooper, juggler, stilt walker. Yes, those things are unique, but they're also kind of a dime a dozen, right? There's lots of people in watching this video who probably do really similar skills to me and are thinking, dang, how'd she get all those things and I'm not doing any of those things? And the real answer is, I'm very systematic in the way that I break things down. So I didn't come into starting my original business, Circus Mafia, willy-nilly. Okay. I came in with a plan and a way to execute that plan. Okay. And so I'm just going to try to break down exactly all of the steps that I've done that really made a big difference, from just being a regular street performer, festival party goer, to world-class stage act, world traveling performer. Okay. And so if we break it down into just like the simplest steps that I can think of, first step is you have to get your act together, right? You have to have an act to tour. That's step one. Step two is you have to prepare your mind for a world tour. It's not just as simple as getting the contract and then you go. There's mental and physical preparation that one needs to do to be able to mentally withstand leaving your home for up to 6 months at a time. Then branding my business. This is huge. So that's going to, again, take me from being just Kristen Railing, hula hoop girl, to what was then Circus Mafia. Okay. So then once I have a well-branded business and I have my act, then it's about targeted marketing. How do I find the people to hire me for the amazing acts that I just created, right? And I think that alone is one of the biggest mystifying questions that people have. How do I find my target market? How do I define them? And how do I contact them and really make valuable relationships with them? So we're going to go over all that. Then the next step is really pricing yourself like a professional. If you go in with prices too, you're not going to be taken seriously, and you're not going to be able to financially sustain yourself through a world tour. Okay, to be able to keep your home, bring it, and also funding the next steps along the way. So making sure that you have all of your pricing handled. Then once you have all of those things, then you're ready to start thinking about taking your show on the road. Okay. And I think oftentimes people try to come in, all right, I'm ready for a tour. Let's do it. But when I start working backwards and asking people these questions, which I'll be going over, soon you start realizing there's little bits of holes in the plan, and we want to fill the holes before we really jump into the boat and set sail. Okay. Step one, get your act together. Get it together. Okay. So creating a world-class stage act is not just about, bam, I wrote an act and now it's done. It usually takes a lot of refinement and dedication to that single act over the span of years to really create something that's world-class that is going to set you above other people, okay? And so the first step is find your niche, okay? It's really easy to go, I'm a hula hooper, and I'm a juggler, and I'm a still walker, and I do magic, and I'm a jack of all trades for everyone. That's not going to get you hired all over the world because there's jacks of all trades in every city. And so what we want to do is we want to have a well-defined niche that sets you apart from other people so that when you're sending in your resume and your application, they don't look at that and then say, oh, I can hire someone locally. Why would I fly you in to Japan when I can hire this person locally? Okay. So that's first step. Define your niche so it sets you apart from other people. Then you must practice that craft within that niche for an extended period of time. Unless you are just naturally gifted and just have some amazing talent, most people need to work very hard for many years, days and days and days, not just a little bit. I'm talking hours a day at this craft for years to, again, set you apart from other people. Then once you have your niche and you've been practicing it, then we create the world-class stage act, okay? And I actually have an entire course just on stage act creation. And I do have some articles for free that are on my website, theperformersguide.com, under forums. I've got tons of free articles that teach you how to create a world-class stage act. That's under Take Your Show on the Road forum. Then once you've got your act, you have to be able to articulately explain that act to the tech people, to your clients, to the theater, to whomever, in a way that's very logical. And I think it's shocking to me how many people don't have a tech writer or understand the technical requirements that their show needs. Again, I have a tech writer example on my website. You can feel free to download that. And then you're going to want to have your insurance in place. You can get this insurance the day of getting the booking, right? The contract comes in, you can get your insurance. But sometimes it's too late if a client wants something right away. And so it's just good to have your insurance set in place so that you're ready to go on tour. Because what often happens is people go, oh, I'm ready to go on tour. But when that request comes in, they're not actually ready for it because they haven't actually created an act or any of these things. And so are you actually going to be ready for when this offer comes in? And so especially right now where a lot of work isn't coming in and a lot of us are on break, you got to be working extra hard to stay in shape so that when we turn back to the industry, you're still in prime shape for performing and that you haven't slid down a little bit, right? And so we got to keep practicing our niche and keep working on it and working on these back end things like our tech writers and some other things I'm going to be talking about. We can be filling in the back end before the market returns, okay? Step 2, I think this is often the most overlooked section of my entire program, your mindset, okay? A business, a performer, a brand that doesn't come from the outside. You don't just slap on costumes and now you're a performer. You don't just file your business and now you're a business owner. No, you have to change your mindset that I am an entrepreneur. I am a world-class performer. I go on tour. I'm good enough to be on the news, to be in parades, to have people follow me around with video cameras, to win awards. I'm good enough for those things, okay? And so the first step is understanding what your goals are, okay? Because it's really easy to lose yourself if you don't actually have very solid goals. Most people, when they come to me, I go, great, okay, what's your goal? I want to go on tour. I want to be a world famous performer. I want to make money. That's not a good goal. Those aren't good goals. Those are okay goals. They're not SMART goals, which means specific, measurable, actionable, reachable, and time bound. Okay. And so if you set a goal, I want to go on tour. When? 2022. Okay. Spring, fall. Okay. I want to go tour spring 2022. Okay. Where? Okay. I want to do a West Coast spring tour 2022. Okay. How many destinations are you going to hit? Okay. I want to do a 5-stop West Coast tour spring 2022. Okay. And how much money do you want to make from that? $10,000. Okay. That's a SMART goal. I want to make $10,000 traveling to 5 destinations in 2022 spring with this act. That I can help somebody with. I can't help somebody be this ethereal, world famous performer because there's so many different tiers and ways to define that goal that you have to be very specific with yourself, because the universe is listening, and whatever you project out, you're going to get back. So if you go, okay, I want to be a North American performer, okay, that's where you're going to set your sights. World, that's a lot harder. It's a wide net to cast. So maybe you just want to start small, start in your city, start in your state, define the goal. What are we working on here? Then once you have that goal set, you got to have good time management, especially if you're owning your own business and you don't have a manager and there's nobody doing any of this for you. It's just a lot of ducks you got to put in a row, right? And if you don't have a time management, you're going to miss your flights. You're going to not buy your stuff on time. You're going to get left behind on the cruise ship. Like, if you don't have good time management and you're performing on a cruise ship and you don't make it back to the cruise ship, they literally leave you at the dock and they have your passports. So now you're in a different country with none of your stuff, except for what you're wearing, hopefully some money. They have your passport and now you're stuck in a different country. That's what bad time management gets you on world tour. Oh, you miss your flights. Now you're in Spain, for an amount of time. They got to buy extra hotels, new flight. Time management is so important, not just to get the gig, but to make sure that your life functions on tour. Okay. And then task management, which seems similar as time management, but it's different. Actual tasks, your to-do list, making sure that the things that you are doing are in alignment with going on tour. Okay. So often I see people go, I want to be a professional performer, yet they're clocking in hundreds of hours on video games. Okay. Well, imagine if you put in hundreds of hours on marketing, writing your stage act, working on your website. Treat those like a game. Okay. And get your task management in order. Takes more than just ethereal wanting to be a performer. It takes a lot of hard work. Okay. This isn't easy. And then you got to have intrinsic motivation. Okay. Intrinsic means it comes from the inside. Most people are extrinsically motivated. Extrinsically motivated by claps, by money, by validation, external validation. Okay. You got to throw all that out the window, and all of that has to come from yourself, because you're going to be faced with a career of rejection, of criticism, of judgment, of people talking about your body, your face, your hair, your everything. And nobody's telling you what to do, when to do, how to do it, any of it. So you have to stay motivated when there's nothing externally motivating you, and when people are pushing you down. You can't do that. You can't go on tour. You're not good enough. That act's not great. I don't know about your costume. You didn't get the gig. Fuck. No, you're amazing. You just haven't found the right market yet. You just haven't hit your right niche, and you haven't found it. Once you do, it will snowball and you won't be able to take in all the gigs. Okay. And so you just got to find it, and you'll find your rhythm with it. Okay. And you got to stay positive. Self-discipline, same thing, right? there's a difference between being motivated and then disciplined. Oh, I'm so motivated, but no steps actually happen. Okay. So you have to have the discipline to do the workout, the discipline to send the email, discipline to just do that extra step. You got to be disciplined. Okay. And then all of that leads into a successful performer's mindset. Okay. And so I love this image that I found, and it really shows the difference, even just in your body posture, what positive mindset versus a negative mindset is in performing. And I see this so often when people don't get the gig, they didn't get the festival gig, they know they're qualified, they're just getting run down, like what's happening, right? And they go, and not only do they do this, but then they project negativity. Oh, I didn't get the thing. Oh, that festival, I'm not going to that thing. Man, people are taking note, whether you think they are or not. People see this when you respond to being rejected. Okay. And so what you have to go is gracious. Thank you so much for this opportunity. Next time I'll get it. Wow, this person deserves it. Okay. And when I see me actively, when I see people graciously accepting their defeats, I go, wow, the professional. And when I see people going, I think, oh, that artist who has something that they want to give, but it wasn't received. And so now they're like, and so the way to go from this to this is externally motivating yourself, right? Fuck them. I didn't get hired at that gig. Wasn't going to be a right fit anyway. Didn't get hired at that festival. Wasn't going to be very much money anyway. Now I have more time to do something else. Okay. So you got to swing things in the positive, because it happened either way and people are watching and you're going to keep going. And so it's hard to maintain a good mindset. I'm not even trying to pretend like you get to the successful performer mindset and then you go, yay, I'm successful, good mindset. No, even people at the top of their career still have to work on maintaining their mindset, especially when you're traveling, right? That's, again, then you're going into fatigue, adrenal fatigue, just general tiredness on top of being overworked. You still have to keep your mindset on and be on, because you're in a profession where you're on and people are watching you. And so you have to be aesthetically pleasing at all times, even in defeat. Okay. This is a big one. Get over the imposter syndrome. Fuck it. Out of it. I'm done with that. I'm done hearing about it. But none of us are imposters. You are who you are, and you're projecting success until you achieve that success. And that's not faking it till you make it. It's knowing that you have the exact same amount to give as everybody else. You watching this could do everything that I've done. You could manage 100 performers. You can travel to 5 different continents. You can have a 6-figure income. You can have these things. You could be a world traveling performer. There's literally nothing that stands between you and that, but your mindset and just systematically breaking down your goals to achieve it. Okay. So we're just going to wash our hands of the imposter syndrome. Okay. We're all superstars. We are, you know it. You wouldn't be sitting here right now watching this video if you didn't know that you had a world-class act that could go on tour, period. So let's make it happen. Okay. Bam. Step 3, brand that business. Okay. When I was just Kristen Railing circus performer, made some money. Once I became circus mafia, bam, manage 100 performers, traveling internationally, getting hotels, cruise ships, nightclubs, but it was just like overwhelming. I was like, how did this happen? How am I getting all of these things? And it's because you create this thing that's larger than you. Okay. And I did the same thing with the performer's guide. If I was just Kristen Railing offering business coaching, which I was for 5 years, subtly, I wasn't pushing it or marketing it, but it was a thing that I did, not for calls here and there. Oh, I do, class here and there. It wasn't until I branded it that people were like, wow, holy shit, what is this? I'm like, it's Canva. Like I just put together some images and branded it and created a name. It's not just Canva, it's a lot more. And we're going to go over that. But brand it. Okay. So if you're trying to go on tour as John Smith circus performer, you can get gigs, and you will if you're built a solid brand around your own name even. Okay. But for the most part, if you're trying to expand to managing even more than one person, or trying to get that kind of recognition of world class, it's got to be branded. Okay. So how do we brand ourselves? And I think a lot of people just think, actually, what I just made a joke about is it's just Canva, right? You just make some digital images. I put on costume, bam, branded, Circus Mafia, right? No, your brand comes from the inside out, okay? And so when you're like, I want to go on tour, you want to think, are the people that I'm marketing to an ethical match for my brand? I think a lot of times people don't even think about that. I mean, they do to a sense where they're like, I don't want to work with Pepsi. I'm not ethically aligned with Pepsi. But you might not be ethically aligned with some of these random companies that you weren't even getting the gigs from. And then people get like, but if you look deep down, you didn't get that gig because you weren't ethically aligned in some way, energetically aligned. It wasn't aligned, and that's okay. That's good. But if you don't have an understanding of what your core values are, who you are as a person, what you offer, then you're going to be pulled back and forth by all your clients' needs. And performing is going to feel like this. It's going to feel like this whirlwind of like, I've lost myself in performing. So to not get that, you want to define your core values. Okay. And that's how you don't get sucked into, oops, now I'm accidentally in a Pepsi commercial, right? Define your core values and go from there. Your brand comes from the inside out. Okay. Then once you have your core values, then you start working on your personal brand, which is your clothes, your face, your hair, the way you speak, the way you stand, your phrases, who you are as a person. If someone were to just see something and they send it to you, right? And like, oh, I was just thinking about you. That's your brand. And the thing about your personal brand is, if you're not branding yourself, you're being branded by everybody else's perceptions of you, whether you want to be or not. So why not just take control of that brand? Okay. Take control of it and reproject what you want people to see you as. And over time, they will start to see you as that if you are reliable in your branding message. Okay. So look at what you're wearing right now. Look down. Does it match your personal brand? When you go out to the store, when you go out to a party, sometimes like when we're at our pinnacle peak of the moment, like, yeah, we're in our brand. You want to try to be well branded at all hours of the day so that if anybody at any time messages you, you're like ready, I need some water. Hold on. Then it's about projecting your personal brand digitally. So logos, fonts. I did a terrible job branding my fonts in this presentation and just use like Times Roman. But you want to brand your fonts, the colors, right? Look at the presentation. I'm using all reds, golds, black, white. Those are my branding colors. Okay. I wear black, gold, red, throw in some purples. That's my personal brand right now. Okay. Be consistent in that. Make sure it's consistent on your website, your social media, your everything, so that when a recruiter looks at you, they go, ooh, this is a consistent brand that I can rely on to go on tour with. Okay. Because if I'm like, oh, I'm going to go on tour and I want to take some people, and I look on social media and they're like, I'm over here and I'm over there and I'm projectile vomiting my social media, I'm not going to hire that person because they don't feel reliable. And so you want to look at your personal media, especially your Facebook, I think is the biggest culprit of digital vomiting, projectile digital vomiting of our emotions. The client is going to look at that and see that, and you might not get the gig, just straight up. So I want to have a tightly branded digital brand. Okay. Then a name. You could have all of those things, still no brand name. You could still just be yourself, but adding on something that's memorable, especially if your name is like, last name's like Karpinski, or like something really long and confusing, any kind of European name, right? That's very confusing for a different country, right? If you're going to a different country and they're like, oh, I can't even pronounce your name, you're not going to remember it, you're definitely going to want a brand name, okay? My name is Krystin, Kristen. I'm going to lose so many clients just by just sending them to KristenRailing.com, because they're going to spell it Kristen. You know, so many different ways to spell it. Circus Mafia is way easier. The Performer's Guide. It's easy to remember, right? And you want it to say what you're doing, okay? And then you have to have a strategy, okay? Most people don't even have a brand strategy. They just have a brand, and again, we're projectile posting our thoughts. Have a strategy. What are you trying to do right now? You're trying to go on tour? All right, make those posts strategically pushing and projecting that you are already a person who is ready and available to be going on tour, right? Not posting potato chip photos or something. I don't know. I'm looking at potato chips. Why I said that. You know what I mean? So brand strategy, social media posting automation, really make that brand consistent, okay? Boom, there's an example. The Performer's Guide. This is my brand, my logo currently, right? How much sexier is that than just, I mean, sexy, but like the brand image, right? Than just me. This versus that, or that, depending on which side of the square I'm on, right? Okay, so this is what you want to create for yourself. Something where when they see it, people go, damn, okay, this person's legit. I made this in Canva. Okay, so now you're branded, you've got your mindset, you're fucking ready, you've got your act. All right, now what? Ooh, this is a big one for people. Now what? They know they're ready. I'm fucking ready, Kristen. I get people all the time coming to me. I'm ready to go on tour. How do I find my target market? Target market? What the hell is a target market? Targeted marketing. It seems so vast, I think. It's like, whoa. Even the word marketing, like, how do I find my market? Let's talk about it. Okay. First step is understanding that the market is literally everybody in the world who purchases services within your niche. That's just in the world. It's like, oh, everything. And if you are in the market, you are someone who purchases goods and services. Okay. So when people go, I want to market, no, you don't. You want to target market. Okay. And I have a diagram in the next thing. It's going to really show. It's going to take your market and you want to define it to a target, right? And so then what we're doing is we're like a bow and arrow, and we're boom, hitting the client just right on the eye. They're like, you're hard, right? As opposed to what I consider casting a wide net, which is what I see a lot of people doing. Hey, everybody, I'm available. I'm available. I'm available. Just like into the ether. It's like nobody cares. You want to boom, like a spear, get your client, okay? So we're going to talk about your spheres of influence versus targeted marketing in the next section. I think this is really the most important part for how I get hired in the way that I do marketing, which is so different. People call me, how do I do cold calling? How do I do this? No, none of that. Well, some of that, but we'll go over it. Then you have to have the materials to give to these people, okay? You've got this bomb ass act. You're ready. You know who the market is. Now you have to have something to give to them, okay? And this is called an electronic press kit. And I think I get asked, electronic press kit? What's that? So often, okay? And it's because people just aren't talking about it, but it's just something they're supposed to have. And if you don't know that you don't have it, then people are like, oh, you don't know what an electronic press kit is? Oh, okay? So just come in hot. I have my electronic press kit. If someone says those words to me, I think, ooh, this person knows what the fuck they're talking about. Sorry, I cussed a lot in this, but I'm feeling saucy. So an electronic press kit is your digital resume, okay? And this is especially important if you don't have a website. Okay? You could use LinkedIn. I'm really hot on LinkedIn right now. You can create a digital resume. You can create a one sheet on Google Docs. You can just purchase a one-page website. Or you can kind of take that next step of really creating a website, which I highly recommend for every professional. It's just going to take you to the next level. Even if it's really basic, it helps you just house all of your information. I think a lot of people try to rely on social media, but as someone who is on AOL, then MySpace, and then Tribe, and Facebook, and now Instagram, people are like, oh, I want to get away from that. And so there's going to be like all these new things. You know what stayed tried and true? Website. Since the beginning. So we're going to cycle through all these social media things, but you want to have that website tight because that's your tightest look and you own that. That's your piece of property. Okay. And so if you're focusing on social media, you're still pointing people to other brands. Facebook presenting the Performer's Guide is different than the Performer's Guide website. Okay. Then once you have your website and your social media, which is important, in place, then you want to have a sales funnel, right? Because oftentimes you're like, okay, I've sent out my press kit. I didn't get any bookings. Well, your client had no idea how to actually book you from the press kit. They just like send it out and it's like, here you go. And then the client's like, okay, but now what? There's like no line to feed back the sale. Okay. And so we're going to go over just a little bit here what a sales funnel is. And then once you funnel them in, close the deal with a contract. Most people don't even have contracts, or they go into gigs without a contract. You cannot go on a world tour without contracts. Can you imagine flying all the way to Dubai and then the client goes, oh no, the contract stipulations don't exist. So sorry, right? No, you need to make sure that you have very clear stipulations of what you expect, what they expect, what's going to happen, flights, hotels, food, all of it. And I actually just uploaded onto my website 10 contract templates for only $100. It has everything: client, performer, your tech writer, fire specifications, aerial specifications, every, trade for print, photography, general waivers, everything you need to go on tour, I've bundled and now offer it on my website. Pop on over there and grab it. It'll literally just set you on your way to get going for tours. Okay. So marketing, such a big one. The market is the purple, okay? So the market is literally every single person who has ever purchased a service ever, okay? You don't want to go for the market. It's too, look how many people you have to filter through, okay? Then you have the target market. Target market is usually what people are trying to do. I'm going to do some targeted marketing, okay? But the thing about the market and the target market is they don't know who you are, okay? For the most part. Some of you are in my target market and you know who I am, but that's because you're actually in my community and you knew who I was before I started the Performer's Guide, or you found this workshop through a community like the Portland Juggling Festival or whatever. So this is called your spheres of influence, okay? And so what you want to do is, yes, targeted marketing, but focus on your spheres of influence. Okay. And so you've got yourself. I have the most control over my decisions, right? And then you have your most inner circle. It's like your family, your friends, your best friends, friends from elementary school, high school. Start there. Your uncle probably works for a company in Indiana or wherever that could hire you. Your sister is having a baby. She could hire you. Your best friend works for a telecommunications company. They probably have a company party this holiday season. So start there. Who do I know that owns a business or works for a business? It's like literally everybody that you're really close with. Okay. And start listing that out. Then go a little bit further. Okay, I got my neighbors, people I talk to, people who know about me, my Facebook friends. They're not necessarily like my real friends, but they're really close in, acquaintances. So go there. Who are those people? Those people know people. Okay. And then you keep going out, and then you've got the community. I'm way more likely to get a gig through a community member than a stranger. Okay. And we're going to go over why in the next slide with sales funnel. So you really want to focus on the closer people and then work your way out. Okay. And that's how I build all of my success. If I start really far out and I'm like, hey, Hilton, or hey, Bali hotel, book me. And then they look and they're like, well, this person has no recommendations, no previous experience, nothing, right? But if you start small and you're like, hey, mom, let me work for your birthday party, you can start there and start building up the credibility so that once you get that net out, then once they look, they go, oh, okay, you already got some of this experience to give you the backing to be booked far away. Okay. So start locally, start with the people that you know, then work your way out. Okay. Because this is a sales funnel. And this is also something I don't think many performers really think about, is that your potential clients, they're going on an emotional journey to find you. Okay. And oftentimes performers go, here's my press kit. Can you hire me? Wait, take it. Take it. Okay, book me. Okay. They're not booking me. What the hell? I suck. They're not booking me. Why aren't they booking me? It's because they literally just found out about you. Okay. And so you need to figure out how far into my social sphere are they versus how quickly should I close this sale. Okay. And so if you're trying to do big bookings, you might just need to tell them who you are a few times and just get in their sphere, comment on their things, like their videos, like pull them in closer. Okay. Because they're going to go awareness. Oh, okay. It's performance guide. They're not interested, but oh, okay. Who's this? And then discovery, right? Now you guys are in the discovery phase of this sales funnel, right? This is probably your first class with me, unless you're a client, because I don't offer free workshops normally. So this is your way of discovering me as a mentor. So like, okay. And then after that, you're going to evaluate me and my services. So maybe you might leave this and go, oh, okay, I think I might want mentorship later. You're going to watch me for an undisclosed amount of time to see how reliable I am in my services. And once you've decided reliability, then you might go, okay, I definitely have intent to buy this service. And I'm just using myself as an example. I know that for a fact there's people in this webinar watching right now that have intent to buy my services, but just haven't yet. And they're just watching me going, is she giving the right information? Is this the right ethical fit? No, and that's really what it is. Is this an ethical fit for both parties, right? And then, all right, then they'll make the purchase. Okay, so see how far down the purchase is? That's level 5. It's going to take at least, I think it's the rule of 7, it's called. You have to see something, an advertisement, at least 7 times before you're even interested in it. Okay, and so it's a numbers game. You just got to keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going. And at first you're going to be like, wow, I'm not making any progress, but then it snowballs and it snowballs and it snowballs. And that's what's happening even right now with the performer's guide. I did so much work for the past 2 years and it didn't get a lot of recognition. And now, because I was only focusing on my internal circle and I gave so much focus to the people that were the closest to me, and then it was through their word of mouth that people started coming in. Okay. And so that's what you want to do with your performances. Okay. And then we get loyal customers that return. Okay. And then once you've got those loyal returning customers, a world tour is pretty easy. Because at this point, I can just call someone in Australia and go, yo, what up? I'm coming back. You want to do this? Like that could be the level of pitching. We doing this again? Yeah. That's difference between, hello, sir or madam, all the way across the world. My name is Kristen Railing, and I have a service to offer you, you know? And so there's a wide difference of ways that you would advertise to people you know really well and people you don't know very well. And so you want to make sure that you have a really clear understanding of where the person you're talking to is in the sales funnel, so that if you don't get that sale, you're not like, you might go, okay, it's not yet, it'll be soon. And that your mindset is strong enough not to go, I suck. No, they're just in the wrong part of the sales funnel. Just keep working them. Okay. Okay. This is my favorite part of the program, honestly, working this with my clients. God, people are doing the pricing all wrong, all wrong. Okay. And so first of all, you want to have a clear understanding of your own financial analysis. Okay. Most performers are doing what I call the cheat sheet method. What do you charge? Oh, $1,000. I charge $1,000. Wait, someone's charging less? Oh, they're undercutting me. No. Okay. We're going to throw that whole mentality out the door. Okay. You have different needs. That person has different needs. You have different overhead. They have different overhead. Everybody has different costs, experiences, needs, client needs. There's no one way to price or book a gig. Okay. And I go into extensive detail in documents under my Financial Freedom Forum on the Performer's Guide. Tons of documents on how to price yourself, justify your rates, all these things I list here, free on my website in articles. Please read them. Okay. They're very helpful. So you got to know your income expenses for your home, but then also for the tour, right? Because now you got all this extra overhead, and boy, is it fucked up to have a cash flow problem in Australia when you got to catch a flight, or, you know, you got to make sure that your finances are healthy enough to support that you don't become homeless on your tour, and that you can facilitate your living expenses during the tour. Okay. So then once you have an analysis of what is needed, then you have to do a personal, what I call getting real about your own finances, of where they are at now. And then you basically do an analysis. All right. How far away am I from actually financially being able to sustain a tour, and for how long? Okay. And getting real stands for revenue versus expenses, your income versus your expenses, and your assets versus your liabilities. So once you understand where you're at and what your needs are, then you can price yourself like a professional to really make sure that you're paying your bills, paying for the gig, and making money on top, so that it's not energetically siphoning you. Okay. Then you got to make sure you understand your travel expenses. Your prices are here. Your travel expenses are totally different. Okay. And I think a lot of times people try to mesh them together in their pricing, and then they go, oh, it's so hard to give a client my rates because everything's so varied and everything's so different. No, your rates are your rates. And then there's varying things on top of that. Getting real, your revenue, your expenses, your assets, and your liabilities. And again, all of these are articles. These are topic articles on my website, and they go into depth in all of these topics. Okay. Your travel expenses, and then learning to justify your rates. And this goes back to mindset. So you got to have the mindset of, I'm worth the money that I just calculated. And if you do it this way, justifying your rates is very simple. People do not question my rates. What the question is if they can afford them. And because I break it down so simply that there's no question why I'm that expensive. And so again, I got a rate justification document on my website. It's very helpful. And then you have to learn pricing strategies for your clients. Okay. And there's about 25 or about 15 different pricing strategies that you can utilize. And I go really in depth about the difference between undercutting, underbidding, and utilizing price strategies. Okay. So we're just gonna reformulate our mind about underbidding, undercutting, and pricing strategies. Okay. And I'm going to do videos more in depth on those topics because they're really fun and interesting. But that's just a little intro. Then you're ready to take your show on the road. Who's ready? I'm ready. Let's take our show on the road. Okay. Boom. So you know who your target market is. Now you need to create a list of them. Okay. And so you're going to have, it's called a target market list, but you're going to have more than one target market. Okay. It could be hotels, nightclubs, could be cruise ships, could be libraries, could be schools. Those are really generic ones, right? You want to find an even next level target market that would put you in what's called the blue ocean strategy. Okay. If your target market is festivals, ooh, it's a red ocean. Oh, so many people, want to be there. The need is very low. And so the monetary compensation is going to be low. Okay. The need is low. And that's just the way it is. You can't get mad at the festival for its current state. What you got to do is redirect your target market to something that has literally never seen your services before, that is just so blown away that they're willing to pay your rates. Okay. Find those people. They're out there. They just don't know you exist. Okay. So you're going to create a list, and then you're going to create a template that you're going to take that list, have the example of the template in the next slide. You're going to take your target market list, and once you start getting confirmations, then you put them into your world tour template. And then you just start templating out the tour. And so you have a smart goal, you want to do on a West Coast. So I'm like, okay, here's a common tour that I plan out. West Coast tour, San Diego, Los Angeles, Bay Area, Portland, Oregon, Seattle, Washington. Boom. That's a nice West Coast tour. Okay. So I've defined the geographic location. Then I define the goals. Okay. I want to do 4 things in each city. Okay. And you want to make sure you're utilizing all of your markets on the tour, right? Okay, so I want to do a festival gig. It doesn't pay very well, but I really want to do it. Okay, so now I know I'm going to the Bay Area for a festival. Okay, I can teach a workshop, find a nightclub to work later. I could do privates. So you want to start like really sinking into the niche and like, okay, how can I really capitalize and monetize while I'm there with my time? But then also you want to have merchandise. You want to have digital things for sale. You want to have things that you can use to fund the tour as well, right? So like I could get booked to perform, and then once I get there, sell t-shirts once I get there or something. Okay. Other ways to monetize, because if you only have one goal, woo, that's a unstable market for a tour. Oh, because what if something falls out? Okay, I got performing, teaching, merchandising. Ooh, that's a strong platform, right? And then if I don't get one during a city, then I'm still pretty stable financially. And then even if I don't get both, like I can still make it work for that time being. But you really want to make sure you've got like a solid 3 different types of income that you can do while you're on tour. Okay. Oh God, I cannot tell you how important it is to get your right visas. I can name off at least 5 performers that I know that are banned from America, banned from the UK, banned from Australia, because they just didn't get the proper visas. You cannot go on a world tour on a tourist visa with your name. If you are going on tour, me as Kristen Railing on a tourist visa, they're going to look at my Facebook profile and I will get deported. Okay. And so that's another reason why you really want to brand your services and have the service be different than you. Okay. Because I've even had performers who literally were going on a vacation tour and just brought a bunch of props, and it just looked like they were on tour because they didn't get the right visas and they were teaching workshops, but they were technically free. Just don't do it. Be smart. And I have articles on all that too. the article is actually for Europeans or anyone trying to come into America. I still need to work on, because each country has their own, but I have all the visas. If you're trying to come to America, I've seen several people get banned. Careful, okay? And then the other is insuring your props. I've seen a lot of people go on tour and then have accidents happen with their props, and that's your life, right? Like if your unsupported ladder gets bent on the plane on the way to the gig, then there goes your livelihood, right? So specialty insurance offers a new thing where you can, a new service where you can insure your props. And then also there's different types of insurances that can insure your items as you travel, okay? And that's it. Okay, so this is an example of the world tour template. I like to use rainbows because it makes it spreadsheets fun and colorful for me. So you define it by location. And so each color is its own location. It could be America, Canada, Mexico, or it could be, you know, California, Oregon, you know, it could go by state. It could be by city. You can define how you want it, how in depth you want your tour to be. So I'm just going to let you guys kind of look at that for a second so you can sort of copy it. Actually, I will also try to share this somehow with people. I'm happy to share it. I don't know how to do that, but I'll figure it out. And just poke me if anybody wants this. You can private message me as well, but I'll try to do some kind of public post. So be sure to join the Performers Guide group on Facebook. I will be resharing this video. I'm recording it, and I'll also, in the comments of that video, I'll share some links that I think will be helpful to send you along your way so that you too can take your show on the road. Thank you so much for joining me. Again, my name is Kristen Railing, and I am with the Performers Guide. It's a mentorship program for performers just like you who are ready to take their show on the road. Have a wonderful day. Thank you so much for joining me.